welcome to Seasoned and Smart. My name is Rachel Pennellatore, and I'm the Quality Assurance Specialist for Greater Lynn Senior Services. Today I'm here with Kristen Keilty and Michele Dolan, who are members of the American Occupational Therapy Association, who work with Emerson Hospital and the CarFit program, and who'll be talking with us today about CarFit. So I'd like to welcome you both here, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having us.
And maybe you could start off and explain a little bit your work with the hospital and how you got involved with CarFit.
Absolutely. Almost 2 years ago now, Michele and I started working on putting together a driver assessment program for our community hospital in Concord, Massachusetts. And as part of the research for that, we found the CarFit program. CarFit is a combined venture that was initiated by the American Society on Aging, and it is run by AAA, AARP, and the AOTA, the American Occupational Therapy Association. And I went to a training to become an event coordinator as an occupational therapist, and we've been running CarFit events in Concord, Massachusetts twice a year for the past 2 years.
What are sort of the typical walkthroughs or parts of a demonstration?
There is a 12-point checklist that's put out by the CarFit organization, and we look at the driver's safety within the vehicle is the number one concern. It's an educational event. It focuses on things like the line of sight over the steering wheel, how close your chest is to the steering wheel where the airbag is going to deploy from. It looks at your ability to put on and take off a seatbelt. You look at the amount of leg room and distance to the pedals for your legs and feet, how much room you've got between the steering wheel and your legs so for ease of movement, and then how well the driver can access all of the bells and whistles that their vehicle might have. And people are surprised every time. I train people from all walks of life to be technicians for the event, and every single one of us gets in our own vehicle and finds something that we didn't realize existed, or we can optimize the use of that piece of equipment.
I'm sure there are things even in my car that I don't know are there or don't know how they work.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So this is predominantly aimed at seniors or assessing older people and how they're driving. Do you assess younger people? Is it for anyone?
We would assess anyone because, as I was saying, everyone that we work with who we've CarFitted, we found something about their vehicle that they didn't know about that could help them have a more optimal fit. But I think that the thought came out of the fact that seniors are more frail. As our body ages, we're more prone to osteoporosis. We're more prone to having difficulty turning our heads to see. And if we are in an accident, an older person has a greater likelihood of serious injury or death than a younger person, just because of the frailty that our bodies encounter with age.
And do you assess all types of vehicles?
Well, it's been all passenger vehicles so far. I've never done anything other than a passenger vehicle, but we've done sedans and we've done pickup trucks and minivans now too.
And so how do you use the results of the evaluations when you go over that with someone, or when you sort of let them know any of your findings?
At the end of the checklist, at the end of the program, we are able to send the person on to the check-out station. And that's where an occupational therapist is working. And they can go through the checklist and find any red flags that we have initiated for them. And they will do their best to educate the person on possibilities for them. We have cushions and other equipment that can help optimize the person's fit within the vehicle.
So it's just assessments and recommendations. It's not, any requirements or anything that we're, finding concerns or red flags and you're doing anything. This is all self-education or just awareness.
Excellent point. The real focus is community education, education. We're not in a therapist-patient relationship, so we're not recommending, we are educating. And we are, in the chance that someone needs further intervention, we will absolutely give all of the phone numbers, contact information for various local services or driver evaluation programs in the area, ours included. But some people come from miles away, and so we may give them information on something that's closer to them.
Great. And so if people have questions about how they might be able to get a CarFit demonstration or driving cessation or other questions like that, do you have any information, a website or a number, or where people could get information?
Sure. The American Occupational Therapy Association has a website that the public can go on to. That is www.aota.org. And within that website, there is a link to the CarFit website, which is www.car-fit.org.
Great. And is there anything else about the CarFit program or the hospital or anything else you'd like to make sure you mention?
Well, I wonder if Michele would say a little bit about our driving program.
So in some cases, when we do find somebody that may need a little bit more of an assessment to check to see how their fitness is with their driving, we get referrals to our Keys to Independence program. So that is a two-part evaluation, and it's self-pay, and we do a comprehensive driving eval, and we look at 3 areas that are most needed when you drive: vision, physical fitness, and cognition. So we test those 3 areas, and it's anywhere from an hour to 2 hours in the clinic. And then if they do well, we move on to an on-road evaluation. And we do that with a certified driving instructor. And we make recommendations to the doctor from there.
Great. Well, it sounds really interesting. You know, it's not something that you typically consider, changing your car as you get older, but it certainly makes sense that you would change everything else, and your vehicle also needs to adapt as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to thank you again for coming to do a demonstration with us and being here.
Thank you so much. Do you know how to move your chair?
Yes.
All right, see if you can move it back a little ways. How is that? How does that feel?
Uncomfortable.
Michele makes a good point that I think that we got the wheel up a little higher than we needed. So if you wouldn't mind releasing the lever, just bringing it down. I think you had it more like there when we started.
No.
No? It was right there. Well, we certainly wouldn't want it pointed at your face.
be her hand on her chest.
Hang on. Any trouble with your fingers or your hands for doing that job? Excellent. All right. Next, Michele is standing behind the car because she's going to look at how you're doing with your turn signals. Would you please turn on the left? Ready? Oh, excuse me. Would you please turn the vehicle on so that we can evaluate this car? And be sure, do you have an emergency brake? Perfect. Thank you. All right. Left side turn direction. Great. There. Don't be self-conscious. Everyone learns at least one thing about their car in this process.
Haven't used them, I don't think.
So they're usually on the middle panel with the other controls for the radio and all that stuff. And there's
Ah,
a front.
yes.
There they are. Excellent. You may turn those off. Could you use the windshield wipers and washers? I'm going to step back. Good. Does this vehicle require the engine to be on to turn the wheel?
Yes.
Okay, so while it's running, could you please turn the steering wheel all the way to the left? Some people have difficulty with force required. And then all the way to the right. And back to center. Perfect. We're gonna honk the horn. Please honk. Excellent. Lots of people don't know where their horns are. Perfect. Now would you please turn the vehicle off? We're almost done. It's time for the walk around.
Ta-da.
So Richard, we're here to discuss the findings from our CarFit. To be clear, this isn't the usual way we do this. We usually do it outside with the vehicle because in a normal CarFit event, there's a flow through.
Right.
But because it's cold outside and it's January, here we are. The CarFit community provides us with these 12-point checklists. And I've gone through and written our findings down. And I think we've found a couple of things that hopefully will be useful to you. It starts with the seatbelt, and you're not a person who always wears the seatbelt, so you were actually a very good person to interview today. And for you, it's not so much about comfort, why you're not wearing it, but if it were about comfort, I could give you some pointers. Some people are actually wearing the seatbelt incorrectly, so it's not comfortable for them, and we've got things like an extender to make it easier to put on. Michelle's going to hold that up for us. That one clips onto the seat belt that's hanging from the door, so that someone who's got trouble reaching can get it more
Pull
easily.
it over across and then clip it in that way.
There, you can also get sort of sheepskin cloth covers that go over the seatbelt if you're someone who the seatbelt is cutting into your neck. So at the end of a CarFit, we might offer those suggestions to someone who's not wearing it. We looked at your steering wheel, and we lowered it a tiny bit, I think, ultimately. We did a bunch of things, of the steps on the list, and unfortunately, you can't always go bing, 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 and be done. When you change one thing, it affects another thing. So we gave you some education around what things could be optimized. And if you choose to do that, we think that it'll be better for your comfort and safety in the vehicle. When we looked at the steering wheel, your distance in the beginning and at the end was safe for your distance to the steering wheel. Michele pointed out for us that initially the steering wheel was angled up toward your face a little bit too much, perhaps, and we did change the angle a little bit. And if you were to be in a collision and the seatbelt were to deploy, it's better for the seatbelt to be aimed at your chest. That's where it's designed to go.
The wheel.
The
The
airbag.
airbag.
It would be better for the airbag to be aimed at your chest in the event that it needs to deploy rather than at your face. We looked at your head restraint. When someone is sitting comfortably with their hands on the wheel, they should have a couple of inches there, and the head restraint needs to come up at least as high as their ears, so that if you were to have to use it to catch your head, you wouldn't be going very far. Mm-hmm. And your headrest looks good, and it looked good before. We looked at your line of sight over the steering wheel, and it was also another topic that was good before we started, but then we moved some things around, and so we looked at it again at the end, and your line of sight over the vehicle was still good. Where we ran into our first concerns was when we got down to your legs and feet. Your steering wheel was pretty good for your line of sight and distance to your chest, but then you tend to sit really close to the steering wheel. And because the steering wheel is a little low, then there's not much space between your steering wheel and your legs. So we experimented with your seat and helped you adjust your seat so that you were sitting a little bit lower and a little bit further back. And when we did that, we found that we needed to also change the angle of your seat so that with you being way back, you didn't feel like you were way back here. Mm-hmm. So in addition to showing you these new positions, we've educated you on the fact that you may make any of those changes for yourself, that we are really about educating you on what's possible. We also learned about your car that your gas and brake pedals can change position and get closer for you. Was that a surprise to you?
Very much so.
Yeah, very few cars seem to have that, but yours was one of them. What's the make and model of your car?
It's Chrysler Town and Country, 2010.
Very nice. We looked at your mirrors, and they seem to be all adjusted very well for you. We looked at your neck mobility and blind spot checks, ability to turn and look, and you definitely have that ability. We pointed out that sometimes you may want to choose to turn a little more than might be the natural inclination.
Did you want to show this?
Oh, sure. For someone who may not have good neck range of motion, you may discuss with a therapist or a driving specialist about using some mirrors to allow you to see more of the environment. And Michelle's holding up this one that would extend the view. It hooks onto the rear view mirror. And these little bubble mirrors go on your passenger and driver side mirrors to give you a little bit more view. We looked at the operation of your controls in the vehicle, and that all looked very good. Like many people, the location of the emergency flashers was a surprise to you. So that's one of the really common things that we see. Not every function is necessarily accessible for people if they don't know where they are.
Well, it's a matter of if you have need of using it,
Yeah.
then you know where they are.
It's good
If
news
you
that you
don't
haven't
have
need
to,
to use
then
it. But if you need to use it today, now you know. So very good. And we did do a walk around of your vehicle. There weren't any dings or scratches that you were unaware of, and your balance and mobility look very good.
Good.
So
So I get a passing grade.
you get a passing grade, absolutely. We hope that the things that we talked about today will help you. And you get a copy of the checklist.
Can I show you a couple things?
Sure, Michelle's got a couple more things to show you.
So if you did, your car was very accommodating and moved tilting up and forward, and some people have older cars and models, so you can buy these wedge cushions that will help you have a better line of vision and sit upright better, because the cars have lost their cushion. So this will give you that extra height because you need the 3 inches above the steering wheel to see. And you can get it at Bed and Bath and local pharmacies. People have seen them at Walmart. So they range from anywhere from about $25, $30 and up. But something that's firm and not books or telephone books.
And this is a
People used to-
lumbar support, this one?
This one, oh yeah, and the wedge, sorry, yep. And then we have the wedge cushion. You can see the ankle.
So your seat did adjust in your car, but you mentioned that at times you felt like your knees were up and your bottom was down. If you had a cushion like this, because your seat wouldn't allow it, you could put this one in with the height in the back. It sort of takes out the bucket seat.
Right.
So then you're sitting more level. And that one would go behind you.
And then we also have a handy bar. So you were able to get in and out of your car fine, but some people have lower back issues or leg issues. So when you turn to get out of your car, you put this in the side frame of the door, and you use it to help you lift up and get out. And then you just sit it along the side of the car inside. And these range.
Those are $40
$40.
online.
Good. Well, it's been an interesting experience, and I thank you very much. Certainly, come spring, I expect to see a lot more of you around.
Wonderful. We wish you luck and safe mobility.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Richard Hillman, a community volunteer with Seasoned and Smart at GLIS, who offered to have a demonstration of the CarFit program today. Thank you, Richard, for being our guinea pig today.
My pleasure.
How did you feel the CarFit demonstration went?
It was very interesting. Brought to my attention some things I wasn't aware of, even though I've driven the car for 3 years. So,
Was there anything in particular that stands out to you that surprised you?
just a couple of buttons that were tucked underneath that I had no idea were there.
Functionalities you didn't know the car had?
Right. One was the raising or lowering of the gas pedal and brake pedal, and the other had to do with something on the signal lights.
So with the new things you learned, is there anything you think you can put into practice or anything you think would be a good idea for you to start implementing?
After 3 years of driving the car comfortably, frankly, I don't see myself making any changes. But it's nice to be aware of these things, and for somebody who needs them, it's important.
So you felt that the CarFit was a good experience that you would
Absolutely.
recommend other seniors come in and check out for themselves?
Absolutely. It was something that everybody needs to be aware of, the functions of their vehicle. And as I mentioned in the course of talking with the young ladies, if you don't use something, you're not aware necessarily that it's there.
Right. Well, great, and I want to thank you again for allowing us to have the demonstration with you in your vehicle.
My pleasure, and we'll
And
do
safe
it again
driving, yeah.
sometime.